Hi, college and career success. Welcome to fall 2025. My name is Dr. Linda Remark. I will be your instructor for this fall semester. And I always like to start off my semesters by doing just a welcome video that kind of just starts to get you adjusted to the course. And in some cases, for maybe a good chunk of you, your very first time using Brightspace. So the college did just switch completely to Brightspace over the summer. So if you took some summer classes, you already kind of have a heads up on this. But this video is just going to make sure that you're comfortable with some of the basic features. And then I will have videos every single week that walk you through the content of the chapters we are covering, as well as the assignments that you're expected to complete. So hopefully between all of the written instructions, the PowerPoints, the videos, you'll have more than enough to help guide you through everything. Okay, so first things first, when you are at your home, kind of like your home base for Brightspace, if you try to get into our course, which right here, your college and career success, and you can't get in, that probably means you need to do your Brightspace orientation. So if you are watching this video from the link I sent you inside your email and you haven't done your orientation yet, you want to make sure that you do that before the semester starts, ideally, so you can get right into Brightspace when it is time to start working. If you are watching this video from a link embedded inside the class, that means you're already in. So I'm going to go ahead and click into our course. And I just want to kind of put it out there that I also just started using Brightspace over the summer, my very first semester. And so I am still learning and kind of tweaking things as I go. And so this will be kind of a continuous learning experience together. All right, so once you're here, mine has a little extra tabs up here as an instructor. You won't have every single thing up here, but I want to walk you through some things. This is our course home. You're going to eventually see some announcements here. I'm going to actually see if I can show you what they look like. So these were for, well, very old announcements, but you can kind of see how there's some announcements published there. What I will do is you will get announcements several times a week. Anything that gets sent to as an announcement, it kind of goes to your email as long as you have it kind of set up that way. But it just goes over everything for the week. It has links to videos, just a breakdown of your assignments. And so that's just kind of one way to start the week, is looking at those announcements. So you'll see that kind of on your home page. Once you've seen the announcements, lessons is where you're going to spend most of your time. So right here, you have two major areas. You have a start here and you have just another thing called lessons. So on the start here section, you're probably going to use this less and less as we get further into the semester, but you're going to have just a basic course overview that kind of tells you like, hey, here's what to expect from this course. Here's a little welcome from myself. Again, my name is Dr. Remark. I've been here at the college for quite a while now, about 15 years, and I am teaching reading courses, this course, and student success courses. I teach online and I teach face-to-face, so lots of different modalities. I also have 3 children. I have my educational background right there. And I just wanted to let you all know that, like, if this is your first online course, I know it's a little bit overwhelming at times, but please always feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to show you where my contact information here is in just a few moments. The next thing is the syllabus. And so I really do recommend printing this out, or at the very least, I'll show you just real quick, if you scroll all the way down, there's the calendar. So maybe just printing the calendar page out, but I'll walk you through the syllabus. I'm not going to read it word for word by any means, but you're welcome to take a look more at it. So this is our master syllabus. It basically just goes through, here's our course description. It meets all of the college's general learning outcomes. We have 2 major course objectives, but then you can see this one is broken down to lots of pieces. And so essentially the goal of this course is to just make sure you're college ready, that you're kind of getting a good foundation for your future classes. This page talks about college policies and where you can go to find out more information on them. If you were a student who had an IEP or a 504 or any kind of academic need like that, we have a disability support service office on campus who is wonderful to work with students. There's some computer use policies, some general student success resources. I always like to point this out. So if I run over to the Stark State homepage and I go to info for current students, a lot of those here that I just showed you are also here, but this is interactive. You can go and you can click and go to the website specific to each of them. I always like to make sure students know, yes, we do have disability support. We have a career services office on campus. We have tutoring centers. We have information on tuition, lots of just writing center, lots of different resources. So I really encourage you to take a look at that because you've already paid for it with your tuition dollars. So get full use of your money. Even if you're a CCP student and you don't have to come to this campus, there's a lot of these resources are online as well. All right, so moving down from there, this is a little bit more specific to our course. So you'll see 3 numbers here. That means there are 3 classes inside this one I will say, if I say Blackboard, just ignore it every once in a while. I don't mean to. Brightspace is still new. Anyway, inside this Brightspace course, there are 3 classes. And so that's why you're going to see approximately, for the first couple of weeks at least, 70 students, give or take, in here. This is completely online, which means we do not meet at all face-to-face. We don't meet at the same day or time online. Everything is work at your own pace within each weekly construct, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Here are my office hours. So I am on main campus during these days and times, and then you can reach me at this email and this extension. So my email address, I'm usually really good at getting back to you pretty quickly. Just know that the first couple weeks, because I am balancing around 200 students, both online and face-to-face, sometimes my email gets a little clogged up, especially that first week or 2, but I will try my best to get back to you very quickly. And I'm online usually until 10 o'clock at night as well, and on pretty early the next morning. But there's my extension. So if you need to call me, I'll definitely answer during those office hours unless I'm in a meeting. And if not, I get an email saying, hey, you have a voicemail. We do have a textbook, but it is free and it is online. So we are going to look at the link for the textbook here in just a little bit. So how are you going to be assessed in this course? So you are going to have chapter assignments that go along with each chapter. You're going to have there's some discussion boards, there's chapter assignments, there are some automatically graded assignments. It's a mixture of things every week. Every chapter has a discussion prompt in there. And so I will go over this more in depth in your weekly folders, but I just want to make sure that you know that whenever you have a discussion board, and most weeks have one, not every week, but most weeks in this class have one, you need to respond by Wednesday to get your attendance. So it's just like coming to a class. If you come to class, you get your attendance. You post, you get your attendance. Now, if you miss the post, it's just like missing class. You can't really go back in time and make up your attendance, but in an online class, let's say the Wednesday post deadline has passed and it's Friday and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't post. You can still post on Friday and get late attendance points. So it's better to get the late points than nothing at all. In addition, you need to make sure that your original responses are 150 words. The reason for that is this course is starting to prepare you for other classes here, both at this institution and other institutions, where there are often word or page minimums or maximums. And so this is just kind of getting you in that flow. You will also have to respond to 2 classmates every discussion forum, and I will walk you through all of that again when we are in our weekly folders. You'll have approximately 1 chapter a week. There are 16 weeks, there's not 16 chapters, so that's why not every week will have a chapter with it. You will have quizzes from every chapter. They are just 5 questions and it's short answer format. So you're just responding to the question, in 2 to 5 complete sentences. There's going to be other assignments as well, and I will walk you through those here in just a little bit. This is a normal ABCD class. There's the breakdown of the grading scale. When are assignments due? Well, attendance by Wednesdays, everything else, including the responding to 2 classmates by Sunday. There's really not a lot of extra credit in the class. It's one of these that hey, just do your work. A lot of this is not necessarily difficult work. It's just making sure that you're following directions. I might every once in a while say, hey, if you do this on this assignment, you'll get a couple extra credit points. So just look out for that. As I talked about, you can't really make up an attendance deadline, but you can still get late. I also want to point out that for discussion boards, you are kind of getting graded on them twice. You get graded on attendance, and then you get graded on, did you actually answer the question and reach the 150 word requirement. Now, when I say 150 words, if you're 148, I'm not going to nitpick. It's when I start seeing a big drop, when students are turning in 100 words, that you're going to start seeing points taken off. If you miss assignments, can you make them up? You really have to reach out to me and let me know what's going on. I do reopen earlier weeks toward the end of the semester. So let's say we get to week like 13. I'll be like, hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and reopen week 1 for anyone who maybe enrolled late or just wasn't quite understanding how to work Brightspace. Other than that, I don't do a lot of mass makeups, so please just make sure that you're online frequently. I like to tell my online students, please don't wait until like Saturday to log in because you have assignments due on Sunday. And if you wait until like Saturday night to email me and you're confused about something and I don't see it until like Sunday afternoon or whatever the case is, I just really encourage you all to try to log in early as possible in the week. Look everything over, even if you can't work on it right then, look it all over, make sure it makes sense, and then that way you have an idea so you're not waiting to the last minute. All right, so we do have a textbook for the class, but it's in Brightspace. You're going to submit all the assignments online. If something's not working for you, I'm not real bothered by you sending me an email attachment. And then there's no like final project or anything, but there's those chapter quizzes. All right, so this goes over withdrawal information. This is a 16-week course. So any 16-week course, you can take off your schedule by the 17th of November. If not, and you maybe like your work schedule change or things are overwhelming, if you forget to withdraw from the class, it'll just stay on there. So make sure that if you can't finish a class, whether it's this one or any 16-week class, you withdraw by that date. All right, and then the last few pages is just the calendar. So I want you to make sure that you take a look through. I have broken it down by what week it is and then what chapter is being covered. You can also see anytime that there's a discussion board, I have it in red saying, hey, don't forget to post it by Wednesday, and then everything else is due by Sunday. So you can see all the assignments along with the point value of each particular piece. And this is, again, what I would recommend you printing out. I do want to call attention to the fact that your last day of this course is on a Friday. I know we've got a long time. It's still hot out, but we're thinking about the end of the semester just real briefly. It ends on a Friday, and I will remind you of that several times. All right, so that's our syllabus. Underneath there is a link to our textbook. So this is actually going to be embedded in every single weekly folder, and it's going to take you right to, like, if we're in week 4 and we're on chapter 2 or whatever, it'll take you right there. But this just kind of shows you real quickly, here's our textbook. It's really user-friendly. I like this book. When you get to a chapter, there's a table of contents. You can close it and expand it or whatnot. But it'll take you right to that particular section. You can search for a concept or an idea. You can navigate through here or the bottom of every page. You can just go next and get to it from there. You can do a little bit of highlighting. You do have to create an account and log in for free for that if you wanted to add notes and highlight. You can change and mess around a little bit with the text size so that if you are having trouble with that, there's a couple of things for that. So that is our textbook. I by no means expect you to read this textbook word for word. So what I will do, however, is encourage you when we get into certain chapters, let's say like, I don't know, chapter 5. Let's say you're very comfortable with reading strategies, but taking notes you really struggle with. So I would kind of say, hey, direct your attention a lot to that. Maybe kind of skim through the other stuff, but really spend the most time on the sections that are going to be most beneficial to you. And so in my lecture videos and in the PowerPoints, it goes through everything. And then I encourage you to go back into the textbook and spend time on the areas that you could really benefit from. Underneath that are just a lot of different resources on, how to save files, how to upload them, different expectations. I try to grade very quickly within 24 hours, sometimes quicker than that. So just some general information. There's my office hours again. Here's some rubrics. And again, just information that as we go throughout the semester, you'll probably need less and less. All right. Clicking on that lessons area, then this is where the majority of your time will be spent inside our course. You are seeing extra things that you won't see on your particular. Here's another link to that textbook. Here's the student services assignment. So I will let you know that there is a student services assignment. It is due in week 16, and you're probably thinking, oh, great, I have plenty of time. I have a lot of students think that, and all of a sudden it's week 14 and 15. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't take my assignment, and then there's no option. So what this is you have to register and take a workshop or attend a student life event on campus. And there's a mixture of these. They're face-to-face, they're Zoom, they're day, they're evening. When they have the new schedule uploaded, because I am recording this in mid-August, so the semester hasn't even started yet, But when they have the schedule uploaded, I will have a whole separate video that walks you through just the student services assignment. But I do want to kind of just put that bug in your ear now that you have to attend a workshop. And again, they're held face-to-face. They're also held Zoom. They're held morning, day, and night. Lots of options. And there's usually like 50 to choose from. I encourage students to kind of look and register early and maybe even have a backup so that they can attend it. When you attend one of these, you will get a certificate, and that's what you will send to me as proof that you attended one, or you attend an actual event on campus. There's a QR code that you will have sent to me to say that you were there. So I will come back to that, but just kind of putting that in your ear that that'll be due by the end of week 16. All right, and then underneath there, you can see all the weeks are loaded in. Week 1, what you'll start seeing above the week 1 will be a folder that says week 1 videos, week 2 videos. That is where I'm going to upload the content lectures, so like chapter 1 lecture video, as well as the week 1 assignment video, because I want to make sure that you're comfortable walking through all of this. So every week is set up very similarly, where you click on it and it's going to give you just like an overview of what you're doing. You're going to have a materials folder, what is just what it sounds like, the materials you need to be able to complete the work. And then the assignment folder, which is where the actual assignments are found. So I will go into more detail with that on your very first assignment video. But that is where all your work will be done. A couple other things I want to draw attention to is we do have a calendar up here. So on the calendar, you will be able to see, I'm just going to click into September, you will be able to see all work that is due. I have a couple classes in here, so that's why you see different colors. Yours is just like this burnt orange color. You'll be able to see when things are due, including discussion posts and then anything due on Sundays. So that is another way that you can kind of keep on top of things. You also have a grades area where you can check your grades. It's going to load real slow. At any time during the year, obviously there's nothing uploaded in here right now. And so you'll be able to kind of scroll through and check on your grades. Every once in a while, you'll have an assignment that is automatically graded by Brightspace, but for the most part, I am doing the grades by hand. So just kind of keep an eye on it. Make sure if you think you submitted something, you don't see a grade in there, go back and check the Dropbox and check it out. All right, some other things, and I'm going to get in here as a student just to show you. Some other things under course tools. Here's another place to go for announcements so that you can see all the announcements there. Again, you can kind of go on through here. I'm not even sure. I don't use a lot of these other things, the text aid. Again, these are some of the things that are kind of new to Brightspace, but you are definitely welcome to check it out. This is a read speaker, so if you needed assistance with having the textbook read to you, you could go into it from there. And then there's some general SSC resources so that you can go in and, if you wanted to go to the digital library, a lot of these were over here as well, but just another place to be able to go and access that information. To contact me, you want to go ahead and go up here into the little envelope here. It says message alerts. You're going to click on that and click on email. Now, to get to me, you're just going to click on the 2, and you can see like there's some students already loaded in here, but here I am. Make sure you click my name and just hit add recipients. There I am. And I would change the subject to whatever it is you wanted to talk about, like question on assignment, chapter 5, or whatever it might be. And then go ahead and type your actual message right there. And then you'll go ahead and just hit send. That's going to go directly to my email. And then I will be able to respond to you from my email as well. You will also notice that throughout the week, I will send you some messages saying, hey, you're all done. That way you know you're good for the week. On Thursdays, I also like to send, hey, don't forget you have XYZ due Sunday. It's not like you're missing something. It's just a reminder that something is coming up. So I encourage you to get in, play around with this, get comfortable with it. In my next video that you hopefully will watch, we'll cover the week 1 information, the content, as well as the assignments. I will go into the discussion boards, how to navigate those, just so that you're comfortable with that piece of it. But as always, feel free to reach out to me throughout the whole semester if you have any questions or need anything, and have a great fall. I'll be back with your week 1 information here soon.